Let me ask you about a few other things today. One is the not credit card surcharge. It's a debit card surcharge that the government has flagged that it wants the RBA to crack down on. Is that fair enough? Should we have to pay a surcharge for accessing our own money? And I'm making the distinction between debit and credit here.
Yeah, and I think we should look at both. I think there is an opportunity to look at both. And is there an actual cost in that transaction? And I think that's important for us to quantify. And if there isn't, then there is no reason for the banks, because what I fear is if there is, and we can quantify it by an independent third party, and governments rush in to remove it, what could happen is that gets passed on in another way to small business. But I don't think there is. Someone that used to be out on the tools in Western Queensland, I was never in head office, but in a bank out in the tools, I always question this charge. But what I've also already challenged the bank CEOs, in fact I've had a conversation with Matt Common about this, is particularly in regional and remote areas, we shouldn't be paying any charge whatsoever because they've closed their branches and these small businesses are doing their business for them. And there shouldn't be a charge on small businesses for any transactional costs at any shops in these towns where they've cut and run. And Matt Common was very accommodating, saying he'd do something about it, but still done nothing. And all the banks need to look at this. And I think regional Australia has a very strong case that we shouldn't be charged anything. But I think we should quantify this and just make sure there's no unintended consequences. It sounds great, but just make sure that the small business doesn't get caught at the other end of it.
Okay, we'll look into it. Let's finally get your thoughts on a housewarming gift for Anthony Albanese, his new home on the Central Coast.
Oh, look, that's a totally personal decision for the Prime Minister, and I think we should respect that. We all have personal decisions to make. He's a human being. We all are in politics. And ultimately, this merry-go ends, and hopefully it ends for Anthony Albanese in about 6 months' time. And this might be his retirement home. I hope it is, and I hope he gets to use it in 6 months. But that's a personal decision. Aside politics, he's got every right to set himself up and his family up for whatever they do in the future. And I don't think we should begrudge any Australian that, no matter their position. That's what Australia's built on, and I think we've got to be a bit careful about belting politicians and about where they might retire to. I just hope some of them get to retire a bit earlier, particularly on the Labor side.
I thought you might say that. David, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.